Our next session we're going to be talking about hunt groups. Now hunt groups, if you notice, are not listed on the main page, so you have to go find them. So hunt groups are listed under call control. I'm going to click on call control, and we'll be covering these individually, but we're going to work on just hunt groups right now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on hunt groups. And you'll notice I don't even have a hunt group built, so I'm going to go ahead and schedule a hunt group. I'll get one programmed, so I'm going to create a new hunt group, and I'll call this, let's call this accounting. And I'm going to call it extension 500 because I don't want it in the extension numbers of my phone. So, and then you have to assign what's called a backup extension. A backup extension is an extension that if the hunt group for some reason has a problem, it will go there. So we'll go ahead and allow that as well, so we don't have any type of blocking. So you'll notice that the backup extension for our accounting department is the operator. So if for some reason the hunt group doesn't work, then you're going to get the operator. You notice I can also assign that same DID number or a DID number in the same range so that someone could call directly to the hunt group by calling a direct number versus having to dial through the operator or dial through your auto attendant menu. So we'll go on to the next section there, and if you look, we have include by dial by name directory. Most people don't put hunt groups in their dial by name directory. Most people have a one key option in their auto attendant for it. So we're going to turn that off, and we also want to make that private as well. Sometimes you might want to leave that in the directory if you get a lot of people that have to transfer to that specific hunt group. Most people don't. It's usually the operator or a few select people that would know that extension number. Okay. So now we're looking at the switch. A switch is basically the device that's managing this group, and if you have multiple switches, you'd have more than one switch to choose from. Typically the default one's going to be fine. You don't have to change that. Now what's the call stack depth? The call stack depth is how many calls can we take simultaneously ringing that hunt group at the same time. Remember, we talked about that in a previous lesson in the users where they can have a call stack as well. So you want to set that call stack deep enough to handle as many calls as you think would be simultaneously coming into that hunt group. You see the default is 8. You can make it something a little bit more, a little bit less if you needed to, or you can leave it where it is. Now, a hunt group has two types of ringing. You can either do a top-down ring, which means it's going to start at the first person, it's going to go to the next person, it's then going to go to the next person in that typical order, and it's always one person at a time, and it's always going to start at the top and work its way down. So that has some advantages and disadvantages. The advantages, if you always want that person to be the first person to get the call, then that's the way you would set the group up. If you want it to be more advantageous for the whole group, then we have to go into a different type of group, and we'll cover that on our next lesson. So we have that option, or we have simultaneous, which means, of course, all the phones would ring at the same time. And then the next option, you see rings per member. Now, rings per member only applies to top down. It doesn't apply to simultaneous because it's not ever going to ring more than one member at a time because all the members are considered the same member. But the no answer applies to both the top down and the ring and the simultaneous ringing. So you want to go ahead and make that set to the number of rings you want to ring the entire group before it does something. Now, what it can do is we'll look at a little bit down the road here. Now, call members when forwarding all calls. Again, you can tell the system, hey, I want you to ring them even if they forward their phone. So that way they can't get away from the group. You know, if they're on a cell phone or something, I guess they could take the call on the cell phone if you want that to happen. And then you can say skip the member if they're already on a call. So if you have that simultaneous ring and you've got 5 people ringing and they're already on the telephone, that way it'll just limit the group down to the people that are really available. So that's kind of a nice thing that you can do if you're using that simultaneous ringing or if you're using the top-down ringing, either one. Now, here's these destinations that we have the ability to set when either the call stack depth is reached or if the no answer number of rings is reached. And you notice on the call stack, if no destination is specified, it's going to play a busy signal, which is probably 90% of the people that we deal with usually use that option for the call stack. They want it to be busy because there's really no one's going to answer that call. Unless it's a critical call, you could set a destination. Now you can hit search or you can put a name. I'm going to go and put in a name in there, OP for operator, and hit search, and it's going to find a name to match that. Now no answer, I may not want that to go to an operator. Maybe I want that to go to another group or a supervisor, so I'm going to go ahead and hit search and get an option, and that's going to choose. So I'm going to set that to my appointment desk. So as you can see, you can either hit the search button or you can type in a name or a number if you want to fill those fields in. Now we talked about the schedules in the last session, so here's where I can go ahead and set that same schedule if I choose to. I can also set a holiday schedule for that group, so it would only be working on your normal business hours. Again, and then we have a destination where we're going to send that call when it is off hours or holiday. So whatever you'd like to do in that particular case, you can do that, and then the current call handling mode would be would modify itself up as soon as we set. So let's go ahead and set the schedule. So I hit on hours, and I'm going to go ahead and hit save at the top so you can see what it looks like. I hit save. I have to enter, see, I didn't put something in there, so it's saying, hey, if you're going to do an on hours, you better have an off hours destination. So in this case, I'm going to set it to our auto attendant. So I'm going to dial main for our main greeting, hit search. It brings up the main greeting, and I'll go ahead and put it on the same schedule for holidays. And now look what happens. If I hit save, moving it back down to the bottom here, you'll notice that the system is on hours, it's in holiday mode, and it's going to go to that main greeting. So you can see that we've got these set up for the schedules, so that 8 to 5 schedule is going to apply. And then what do I have to do is the last step is to add the people into the group. Again, this was similar to what we did earlier in a previous session. I just picked the people that I want to add. So I'm going to add John to the group, and I'm going to add Barb to the group. And I'm going to go up and hit save. And remember, you must save these pages as you go. And now if I were to call 500, it's now going to ring. And again, I have this set to top down. So if I scroll back down to the bottom, it's going to ring John first. And if John's on the phone, it's going to ring Barb. So that's it for your hunt groups. Again, we'll be moving on to work groups in the next session, which kind of is the brother or the cousin to the hunt groups, which will be a little bit more elaborate in the way that you can assign that ringing assignment. So we'll get to there in a minute. So that concludes this session.